Hello, welcome and welcome back to my channel. I just don't understand Harry and Meghan. I've never been a royal family fanatic. I have watched The Crown, really good television. So I feel like I have a unique perspective because Harry and Meghan are like regular celebrities to me, like how The Rock is a regular celebrity to me. I don't really like follow him, I don't keep up with him, but I do watch his movies and I know enough about him to say a little bit. So I just wanted to come on here and give my opinion and hopefully receive some answers because I liked Harry and Meghan. I thought they were cool. I thought, oh my god, they've really kind of suffered. You know, it's great that they can finally be free, but I'm getting so much overload of Harry and Meghan content. I think they're doing it wrong. And I have a little bit of advice. I don't really think they care to listen to any kind of advice, but I have some advice for them. The first thing is they need to enter their Beyonce era. People like the royal family or anybody attached with royalty because there's some exclusivity about them. A lot of people want the monarchy in many countries to be abolished. They don't want a family or a group of people to be superior or have money coming to them just because they were born into that family. And I think how a lot of royal families, more specifically the British royal family, how they are able to stay relevant and not face total anarchy is that they share a little, but not too much. I haven't been keeping up with them lately. I know that they're still going on press tours and I know that they still try to speak to the public, even though they're facing a lot of backlash at the moment. But from what I remember, the royal family has always kind of kept to themselves and then given the ordinary people crumbs and pieces of them just to keep them happy. Harry and Meghan, though, give you too much. They tell you too much about themselves. For instance, when they had that interview with Oprah, I thought that would be the only interview they would have within a span of like 5 years. Like, I wasn't expecting to hear from them so soon. But then the next thing that I knew, I saw Harry and Meghan with James Corden and I said, okay, I've never seen that before. And then the next thing I knew, Meghan had a podcast and I thought, a royal family member having a podcast? Okay. And then Harry just made it worse when he came out with his book Spare. But even before he came out with his book, they had a Netflix show. That's a handful of projects that are centered around them, that are just giving information that should otherwise be kept to themselves. I feel like not even with royalty, people don't like to know the ins and outs of their favorite celebrities or even their favorite influencers. People like it when they can imagine you in different scenarios and prop you up in their heads. When you give us so much information and we know how you think, we know your mistakes, we know your flaws, we even know your favorite type of music, I feel like people just get tired. The information overload is too much. And I feel like information overload is what is making people confused about them. I don't hate them. I'm just confused about the way or the direction in which they chose to show themselves. My piece of advice is if they really wanted to let people see them for who they are or to create buzz, after they had that Oprah interview, which personally I don't think it was a good look. I think some of the answers were a bit strange, like when Meghan said she had no idea or she didn't know much about his family and how things are, I didn't really believe it because even at my young age, like even when I was in high school, I remember like I used to watch Cinderella. I used to watch every movie related to princesshood and princessdom because in my mind I was like, my family is secretly a royal family and they're gonna come for me and they're gonna say, oh, you're a princess. But even with shows like Sophia the First, like everybody knows you have to bow, you have to curtsy. Everybody knows that the royal family just has more pressure. So I just don't believe that she didn't know. And even if she didn't know, if I started dating a prince today, the same night I'm Googling everything that I'm supposed to expect. So that was kind of weird, but I'll brush it off. So back to my advice. If they really wanted to be seen and create information about themselves, they should have done things like going to basketball games, hosting charity events, hosting charity tea times, going to just a handful of red carpets, doing a couple of Vogue or other magazine covers in a year. I feel like that would have been more appetizing than just basically word vomiting every single aspect of your life. I don't know who their managers are, but they kind of fumbled with that. Now, my second point is kind of attached to the first point. A lot of people said the reason why they're on Netflix, the reason why they're selling books, the reason why they're having these interviews and going so public is because they need to be able to earn money so that they can afford their lifestyle. And I completely agree, but I don't think they're going about it the wrong way. Instead of a Netflix documentary, why doesn't Meghan start something like a high-end handmade dress line or clothing line? Or even jewelry? She has the princess name. Harry has the royalty card. How elegant would people feel to be able to buy something that royals had a hand in? That way they have a business, they have a source of income, they'll use their power and their fame to get their fans to purchase it, but they're not all over the news and it doesn't seem like a cash grab, especially if it's cruelty-free and vegan-free or whatever people like to hear from their products. I also found out that Meghan has a children's book. I don't know if she has one or two, but she definitely has a children's book. I feel like she should have leaned more into that, kind of like a Dr. Seuss. And because she has that kind of like sad beige baby thing going on, she could make books that are aesthetic for parents to have in their nurseries. And instead of Harry going on a book tour talking about his you-know-what getting frozen and then having to go to Harry and Kate's wedding, like nobody needed to know that. Meghan could go on a book tour for her children's books and then she could read to children. And can you imagine like the Duchess or the princess with her legs folded in a very elegant dress, which she owns, in very elegant jewelry, which she owns, as she reads to innocent children? Like, that is press. That is good press. Harry could lean more into charity work. I know that he's always come to a lot of African countries, he's come to a lot of Caribbean countries, Polynesian countries as well, and he's always seemed very interested in charity work. So he could be on boards of that. He could, like I said, organize events talking about how the elephants and their tusks are being destroyed. We need to do something about it. He could hold press conferences. He could talk at the United Nations. He could organize polo events. He could raise money. Like, that is a legitimate way of making money while also being part of a good cause. And it would just look better for them in general to do things that, in my opinion, are more elegant, because this seems like reality TV cash grab with all the things that they're doing now. The third and hopefully the last thing is that I think they should just stop talking about the royal family, because the royal family is not responding and I don't think they can respond. It's against like their protocol or whatever. And it looks very strange when, even if you're right, if you're talking to someone or you're yelling at someone and they don't respond, anyone who walks in on that conversation is gonna think you're the crazy person because you're talking to someone who is not responding. So they instantly get a upper hand because they are not responding. Once they did that Oprah interview, that should have been it. They should have allowed all the articles, they should have allowed all the TV stations, they should have allowed YouTube videos to talk for them with the little information that they gave on Oprah, so that they say their piece once and then that's it. But for them to continuously keep talking about it in interviews, on podcasts, it almost seems like, so if you didn't have the royal family to talk about, well, what would you talk about? Which is why I think they need to get new businesses or they need to get new hobbies, because this is just not working. They have become very unlikable. And like I said, I'm someone who is never like a royal family fanatic, so I'm just like an average consumer. And even for me as an average consumer, I'm tired of the Harry and Meghan stories because it just constantly feels like there's something new today. It never finishes. Because what I've seen online is people are beginning to explain for the royal family. I saw a video of Chris Rock on his comedy special, and he was talking about the fact that when the royal family was asking that what color would Meghan's baby be, which she saw as you know, a sign of racism, and Harry as well, Chris Rock was explaining that, you know, his family also asked, what color would the baby be? How would the baby look like? Would the baby be tall? Would the baby be short? And I've seen sentiments like that before. People kind of relating to the royal family and saying, well, I would have asked this question as well, and maybe I would have thought that, and my mother thinks like this, or my uncle thinks like that, and I don't see it as a bad thing. So I just think the more energy and effort and money and time that's put into Harry and Meghan talking about the family, the more clout that they give the family. I don't think that people will one day just fall in love with the royal family like when the Queen was there, when Diana was there, unless they get such a figure like Diana or like the Queen. I feel like the Queen was loved because of longevity, and she was there for so long, so the love was there, and Diana came and shook things up. And people liked Harry because he was different, even though he also got his fair share of hate. With Prince Charles and Camilla now being the ruling monarchs at the very top, the sentiment for them is not that positive, and no one really knows the future of the royal family. My point is, whatever is hidden in darkness will come to light. It cannot stay hidden forever. If the royal family is meant to be exposed for something terrible and bad, it will happen. And Harry and Meghan have said their piece, but they've said a piece. That's enough. They don't need any more slices of the pie. And with that being said, this does bring me to the end of my video. Thank you so much for watching. I would love to know your thoughts down below, or any type of explanations or further explanations, because I just really don't understand them. I still kind of like them, but they need to chill for a hot minute. And also don't forget to like this video. It helps with the algorithm. Subscribe, and hopefully I'll catch you in my next video.